Yeah. So when you start talking about tractor maintenance and getting that tractor ready for the season, there's not near as many moving parts on a tractor as there is compared to, um, the combine behind me, or a planter, or a sprayer. So your tractor maintenance is really one of the machines on the farm that become a little bit easier to maintain, and really probably less cost of ownership there to do that. When you look at tractor maintenance as you go into fall harvest, uh, really the best thing to do is make sure your oil changes are up to date. And not only your oil changes, but a lot of times, you know, growers take for granted fuel filters not needing to be changed as often as your engine oil. And with today's engine and machines, you really need to change fuel filters right along every time you change the engine oil. Today's fuel systems have tighter tolerances, which means they won't handle any type of contaminants from dirty fuel filters or whatnot near as good as the older equipment would handle some of those issues. So when you're looking at getting your tractors ready, I recommend your engine oil changes, filters, and your air filters, and making sure that those are up to date. You don't want to start harvest and realize that 5 days into harvest, man, I'm due for an engine oil change. You're going to create some downtime and some wasted time. Um, Aside from that, from a customer perspective, it's a good thing to do a walk around of that tractor. Make sure no oil leaks have developed over the course of the planting season. Make sure there's no external leaks that you're seeing that could potentially become a bigger problem as you head into harvest. Um, and make sure there's no active fault codes popping up or intermittent fault codes that have been saved in the tractor display panels. A lot of times you can go in there and look at your log faults and make sure there's no intermittent electrical issues happening that might need some attention before harvest. Um, if you're a grower that just doesn't have time to do those things yourself, a lot of dealerships, Ag Revolution, here at Ag Revolution, we have a PM360 program where we'll actually come out and do a 360-degree check of your machine for those farmers who are not mechanically inclined or don't have time to do the job themselves. Partner up with your local Ag Rev dealer to come out, and we'll do an inspection of your machine top to bottom and help you see what that tractor needs if they're not capable of doing it. Some key factors can help prolong the life of your equipment. Um, you've heard a little bit about a PM360 program in that last question. Um, I think forming a strong relationship with your dealer and having that PM360 inspections performed yearly. If you're not very knowledgeable on the equipment or not mechanically inclined, like I said last question, or if you simply don't have time, I think the biggest factors to longevity is using good oil quality filters, um, changing those on intervals regularly, as recommended by the operator's books, and greasing the machines on the recommended intervals on the machines that have grease points, um, and not neglecting those general service points is the biggest thing. I've seen a lot of customers over time neglect oil changes, neglect grease, and pin bores, joints get wore, and they wear beyond bearings or bushings, and then they get into the hard part of the framework, and now it's pretty extensive and major repairs. I would encourage growers to look at their machines and address issues as they arise versus waiting 3 or 4 years down the road and problems becoming much more costly. If for instance, the combine behind me, if a customer would go around this machine yearly on their own and look at any belts for signs of burnt belts or cracking or dry rotting. Look at bearings for signs of bearing wear or bearing movement in a bore, and proactively change those components on an annual basis. Their cost of yearly ownership will be decreased significantly, but it will prolong the life of this machine because we're hitting those wear points and changing the wear parts before they get into the parts that are actually hard parts or parts of the frame. Even if the grower nowadays, you know, we're not necessarily a dealer. We don't believe that everything has to come to us to be done. We don't believe that the customer has to call the dealer for everything either, as far as that goes. We want to be a partner. And if there's a certain amount of the work they want to do on their own, we can help coach and guide and supply that information. One big area that I have seen neglect on is gearboxes. Uh, a lot of gearboxes, whether it's on a corn head, a combine, any other piece of equipment that has a gearbox, I believe growers take for granted that gear oil in those gearboxes is something they just need to check every year versus change. And today, gearboxes on some of these machines can be $3, $4, $5, $10,000. Where if they would have just practiced a routine oil change on gearboxes on this equipment, when they're doing their engine oil changes or transmission changes, because I think a lot of times the growers believe that, you know, we're going to hit my engine oil, my transmission oil, and we're just going to maybe check a gearbox. I think one area there is that they can really save money is just by simply changing gear oil on some of these gearboxes versus checking it. It's probably an often forgot about issue.